Alright, what's going on? We're going to be talking about Skate today and my thoughts and process and all that stuff. But before we get into that, we're going to have some Battlefield gameplay in the background. I'm not going to really talk about this. If you want me to talk about my ideas on Battlefield, I can definitely do that. But regardless, this is going to be a Skate video. I'm just using this as background gameplay, just to have something in the background. But regardless, we're just talk about Skate. And as the time of this recording, I have 452 hours played in the beta. I've joined back since May, and I just want to quickly talk about it and give my thoughts and my ideas and feedback or whatnot about the game. So I'm not really entirely sure how I'm going to structure this, so just stick with me. I'm still kind of new. I'm going to say a lot. I don't know, that's just my default, but regardless, let's just get into it. So, initially, my thoughts on the game is that the controls are very intuitive. It feels really smooth. Definitely, when it comes to the gameplay, just solid foundation gameplay on the skateboard. It feels really good. It is a lot smoother. It's more intuitive. You have a lot more settings that you can change. And for some reason, I've been seeing a lot of fucking gameplay and a bunch of content creators talking shit about it. And what they don't realize, there's like the one thing that comes to mind is the assist, right? Everyone's always saying like, "Oh, this game is so fucking floaty. This game is so assistive. Every time you get magnetized to a rail or something when you're trying to grind, that shit can all be fixed in the settings." I wish I could go further into detail and show my actual settings, but I can't because I'm not partnered. Again, if you guys want to partner me, I will make actual talk good shit about the game. I'll tell you no. I will say good shit about the game, but I'll obviously talk about the bad here. Don't want to sound like a fucking glazer because I'm not. Uh, but yeah, as I was saying, the settings that can all be fixed. Personally, me, I play on grind assist is personally on a 5 for me, just because if you turn it off completely, it just does some wonky shit, and sometimes it'll just like basically go sideways. I don't know how to explain it without actually showing you a clip, which I can't again. But regardless, keep it on 5. It's gonna be a lot better. It's not gonna be so magnetizing. You're gonna have to be a lot more accurate with it, and it's just overall shit like you can change that'll make it seem a lot better. In terms of camera movement, you can adjust that too. You can make it a lot smoother. Personally, I'll play on low FOV. I mean, really high FOV 120, and low camera settings on. Another thing is parkour mechanics. I think they're actually pretty fine as there is. I mean, it could be tweaked, but not a lot of people are gonna be in there for parkour, and I've seen a lot of hate online about it. Actually, people are saying that they hate climbing, they hate just having to get off their board and do parkour stuff, and a lot of it doesn't make any sense to me. I've seen other creators make comments on that too. Like, you're not forced to use the parkour system. You don't have to climb buildings. If anything, they made it so much more easier for everyone because, again, they don't have to climb buildings. And the reason for that is because in the previous update for the beta, or before this recent update, I should say, you weren't able to fast travel on top of the buildings. But of course, now that they implemented like the fast travel system on top of those buildings, it stops people from complaining about having to climb all the time, which is kind of stupid. And for the most part, I believe most of the people complaining about the climbing system or the parkour system or climbing buildings in general are only having that issue because they don't do the missions, right? So they're not leveling up, they're not opening loot boxes, and we'll get into that in a second. So with that being said, obviously some content creators, the ones that are partnered, actually mentioned, and obviously I know this because I've been, again, 400 hours in the game. You have to level up in order to unlock fast travel points on the map, which is, it sounds more complicated than it is. It really doesn't take that long at all. You can literally unlock them for every section in one day just by doing challenges. So, I mean, it's like, I'm not telling you to you have to grind out challenges, but like, you could do it just for yourself, like unlock some stuff, get some cool cosmetics, and also unlock fast travel systems to make it less of a headache for you. If anything, if not for anything, if you don't want to open loot box systems, go ahead, don't do it. But at least do it for the fast travel system. And there you go. That's a simple fix. You don't have to do a parkour system. You don't have to climb buildings and any of that. And yeah, it's just like dumb shit like that. Like, it's so fixable. Just look at your settings. You can fix a lot of stuff. You don't have to complain about how easy the game is, holding your hand and all that stuff. Simple fix is in your settings. Obviously, like I just said, parkour system. Just level up a little bit, and you get all the fast travel systems. And with that being said, let's get into the monetization in the game, because that's my biggest gripe and possibly my top one gripe is how expensive everything is in the store. Now, obviously, you do have to pay real money to buy stuff in the in-game shop. So it's something like, I know Fortnite is doing a similar thing. You know, they have the V-Bucks that you use, but of course, other games like Overwatch, you can use. They have even though it has multiple currencies. I know you can use real world money, but that's mainly for like when they have collabs and stuff, which sucks because you can't buy it if you're just grinding the game out and you don't want to really spend money other than the maybe a battle pass in other games. But you do have the options in most games to use to grind out the game and earn some money so you can buy something from the shop, which this game doesn't have, and I think that would benefit a lot of players since some people just want to play for free, but at least get some decent clothes for themselves. Even if they have to grind a hot minute for it, I wouldn't mind personally, as long as there is some kind of leeway, because obviously you do have to open these loot boxes in order to progress. So yeah, I mean honestly, like $8 for trucks in game is kind of stupid. Obviously I've seen like $10 stickers, which is obviously something else that's dumb. And this is all in the shop. I'm not talking. We'll get into the loot boxes. This is still not the loot boxes. This is just the shop shit. So obviously, I think that's super dumb. Spending like what $10 for like a sticker. Mind you, you can't even change the size of the sticker. You can't place it wherever you want. There's like set positions, and there's only one size to put it on your board. So you can either put it on the tail of your board, or in the middle of the board. These are the stickers I'm talking about, by the way. Uh, yeah, so if there was like a little bit more customization, you can change the size. Maybe put it on some shirts. I've seen some people say that you should be able to use them as tags around the world, which personally I don't really care about. I mean, if it makes them feel better, sure. But since it's online, as soon as you log out from the server that you're in, or if you join your team or your boy on some other server, those tires are not going to be there. So I mean that's just kind of dumb to me. But if you were able to change the size, again, like I said, change the size of the stickers and place it wherever you want, like on shirts and stuff, then that'd be way cooler than it would be than just having $8 stickers that you can't really do shit with. um Maybe even like tattoos, obviously, like has to be a thing, like being able to change the size and placement on that. I just think that fits well with the stickers. Uh, and obviously, there's a bunch of other shit. Like there's what's it called, emotes in the game that you can buy. Obviously, those being expensive too. I've seen some of them going up to like $15 and stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that should be a thing. I mean, sure, if you want to buy like some cool ass fucking craft tee or something, uh, or I should say like a Nike tee or something. Sure, if you want to spend $18 on that, whatever. But I still think the pricing is just ridiculous. I know trucks shouldn't be more than $3 at most. You know, I think shirts should be like maybe $10 at most. Anything higher than that is just like kind of crazy. And I know I understand that it's a free to play game and they're trying to make money and whatnot. But I think there's easier ways for them to do that. Without breaking people's banks and wallets. Anyways, like if things are cheaper, from what I know, from like how I play and I've seen other plays, people tend to change their outfits daily, if not weekly. You know, so having more outfits definitely helps. So having them cheaper is still gonna add up. People are gonna, if there's cheaper cosmetics like t-shirts, pants, and trucks and skateboards, if they're a lot cheaper, that means people are gonna be able to spend more, right? Not of course, this doesn't mean everyone, right? But I just feel like if it's cheaper, people are gonna be like, "Oh, this is cheap," and they're not gonna fucking worry about spending $3 on a skateboard, right? If it's like $15 for a skateboard or a t-shirt, then it's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna spend so much, more consistently." So either way, like if the prices are lowered, it's still gonna add up. They're still gonna get the money over time because people are gonna be like buying stuff more consistently. I think that would be a great change for the game in general. But let's just leave that behind. So that I've been rambling a little bit. Again, just bear with me. So now we're gonna get into the loot boxes. So in order to rank up, you need to open loot boxes, and to be able to open those loot boxes, you have to do challenges, and in those challenges you earn rip chips. Now, rip chips is the free currency that you earn by doing those challenges. And now here's my issue with loot boxes. I don't necessarily have an issue with the loot box itself, but like one of the things that everyone brings up is like, oh, you can't choose female or male bodies, right? It's just option one and two. That doesn't really bother me. I don't give a fuck about that. That's just kind of stupid. A silly thing to complain about. Well, my issue is doing it this way with the loot boxes. Is sure it's fine. It's kind of annoying. Like I have my gripes with it too. But what my main issue is like, I don't want skirts, bro. I'm playing as a male character. I don't want to fucking grind through loot boxes and end up getting skirts. Like, so my thing is, I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I understand, like, if there were no loot boxes, people would only grind out as much as they need to say, like, let's say there's 8 things that I would want max, right? Maybe 3 beanies. Let's just say there's 3 beanies. There's like 4 pants. Okay, maybe more than 8. Let's just say 10, right? Um, like people are only gonna play enough to earn that stuff, like those beanies that they want, the pants that they want, the board, the skateboard, you know, the shoes, whatever else you would want. And then my best guess would be that EA obviously wants player retention, right? So by doing it with the loot boxes, obviously incentivizes you to play a little bit more to try to grind out for what you want, in the hopes of earning it. And obviously, it being random kind of sucks. Now, here's the negative about that. As a male player, obviously, I don't like. Why would I want to open loot boxes and earn stuff that I don't want, like i.e. skirts or like maybe a sports bra? Like, why the hell do I want that taking up inventory space? Like what if the same thing happens like it did in COD a couple years ago, or the excuse that they used at least? There's so much stuff in the game. Like if anyone remembers who played COD, there was an issue for Battlefield players where they were spending stuff in the shop, right? They were obviously buying cosmetics and stuff, but it wouldn't show up in their inventory because the inventory in game was full by itself. Like, in itself, it was full, so they couldn't, even if they purchased something new, they wouldn't get that stuff. Obviously the game will still take their money happily, right? But they wouldn't get their stuff because the inventory was so full. Now that's my issue. Like, what is going to be the cap? What is going to be like the max amount of stuff that you can have in your inventory? Let's say it's like 100, right? You just say, once you pass that threshold and you're constantly like trying to buy new stuff, who's to say that you're not gonna, get that actual stuff that you want? And especially like, what if they add new maps? Which obviously they said they were, right? What if they add new maps, and when that happens, obviously they're gonna have more challenges and more stuff to unlock in those areas. Again, you're still gonna reach that threshold, right, where you can't collect anymore. And my thing is, again, why the hell as a male character do I want skirts and sports bras taking up my inventory space when I'm not gonna ever use it? I'm not gonna ever look at it. I'm not gonna ever touch it, right? Maybe maybe have a system where you can sell that stuff and earn some rip chips back, or maybe in-game store money, like real money, the Sandvan bucks one, not rip chips. And obviously you'll be able to purchase stuff right there from the store. And it can't be like some cheap shit either, right? You grinded for that mini skirt that you didn't want. You grinded for that sports bra you just randomly got from a loot box, right? But you don't want it. So if you're gonna, let's just say they do take my idea into consideration. If you can't sell it for Sandman bucks, right? I don't want to be asked out and having to sell that and only get like what, one Sandman buck from that. No, no, no. It has to be like at least 5. 5, maybe 10 max. Or give me fucking 20, bro. Even there, I think that's gonna be too much. But make it at least 10 max, right? At the very least, it should be 8, maybe 5 Sandvan bucks that you can redeem for that, right? Because that is just kind of dumb. Like, I understand why people don't want that, the loot box system. But again, obviously, devil's advocate, they do want people playing their game a lot more. Player retention, that's what's gonna make them money. People on the game, and some of them are gonna spend money, right? So that's my gripe with the whole loot box system and stuff. That's the best that I could explain it. Hopefully, I did get everything I wanted to say out, because I might have skipped some stuff. Again, hopefully I didn't. And I'm trying to think of like any other stuff. Like, obviously, I don't know if I touched on this, but like finger flips and dart catches, they're obviously gonna add into the game. So I don't understand why people are making a big fuss. But like, oh, if they don't add it, this game has to be done. I'm gonna go back to Skate 30. This is what everyone is saying. No, bro, they're definitely gonna add those, you know, tricks. It just is not implemented into the game right now. Maybe because they're focused on other stuff. Maybe they're focused on getting the kickflips animation right and all that stuff. They're definitely gonna add it. If they don't, I mean, it's like I'm like 85%, maybe to 90% sure that they're gonna add these tricks. So we could just start making videos on it. You know, some people are like dragging it out, making multiple videos. Like, oh, when is finger flips gonna come out? When is fucking Dark Side is gonna like? It's coming, bro. Shut up, please. Yeah, there's other stuff too. I'm trying to think of like other stuff. I touched on the parkour system, loot boxes, money, monetization, all that stuff. Uh, the grunge feel of it. I believe I touched on that as well. But if I didn't, I'm gonna quickly go over it again. 2019. Look it up. You can look it up on YouTube. 2019 reveal trailer for Skate. I feel like it looked a little bit better. Some of the other stuff would be like I believe I touched on this too. The proportions are off. Character models, the tallest one doesn't look like they're actually getting taller. It looks like they're just zoomed in or something. Like when you choose the tallest version that you can on the preset, it looks like a child was just zoomed in on. Like, damn, I'm trying to. Like, okay, you have a model, right? All you did, instead of making a completely different model for like a taller character, it looks like a child was just zoomed in on. Like if you had a picture, right, of a child, you I shouldn't say that. That sounds weird. You just say you have a picture, right? You zoom in on it, but obviously since it's in game and it's like a 3D environment, you kind of like push it out, right? It's zoomed in, so it looks bigger, but you push it out, so obviously it looks, you know, like it's not too close to the fucking screen or to the, you know, your screen, whatever. That's the best way I can explain it. It just looks weird. It doesn't look realistic at all. Again, it looks like a child just fucking, like a taller version of a child, or a bigger version, I should say. I don't know. I really don't know what else to talk about. I just feel like this game is getting a little bit too much hate than it really deserves. Some of the stuff is just like nitpicking, like the parkour system. Again, just level up. If you don't want to climb buildings, level up. There you go. You got your fast travel points. Uh, I don't know. I really, again, my main issue that I really want people to focus on is the fucking monetization in the shop. Like, it's too expensive. I'm not paying 800 San Van bucks, which obviously is $8 in real life for trucks. You know, that doesn't make any sense. Or stickers or emotes. That shit is fucking retarded. It's ridiculous. Like, unless it's a fucking baker board, then maybe I'll spend like max 10 bucks, right? Sure, I guess if you want to go that route. But when it comes to like pants, shirts, and all that stuff, it shouldn't be any more than $8, right? They're still gonna make the money back. You know, if they make the world a little bit more grunge feeling, you know, because I understand that they're trying to market it a wider player base, right? But like, what does it have to do? Like, why is it? Why are they playing it so safe? Why are they not showing man versus female or body types? You know, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they're playing it way too safe, and it's like kids are intelligent now. They're not fucking stupid, right? Like, I remember as a kid, I knew way more than I should have. I mean, obviously some kids are way more protected than others, right? I might not have the same upbringing as other kids, you know. Maybe they're a lot more innocent and stuff. But regardless, I don't believe that they're stupid, and it's not like, you know, just because you have stunt challenges and let's say, yeah, the stunt challenges. Let's talk about that actually. We have stunt challenges in game, which is basically the equivalent of whole of meat without the fucking bones breaking and all the X-ray shit. Why not add that? Like, I understand they're trying to get an E rating most likely, so that it can, you know, get it to more people. But shit like that, like, just because the kid sees that, I mean, some kids are kind of slow. Let's be honest. But just because they see that doesn't mean they're gonna go out there and do it, right? And it's just stuff like that that just
I guess all
grinds
is.
my gears. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like
Oh my gosh, she didn't get it.
kids are more dumb. I don't know why they have to coddle them and be like, oh, they like have V saying, oh, let's check the footy, or some like cringy ass fucking line. The dialogue is so fucking obnoxious in the game. But the only way that I really have fun in this game, and I'll be honest, the only audio that I have is the sound effects for the board, the skateboard, obviously, like the world, the environment, and all that stuff. And I have the voice volumes off, so I don't hear V at all.
Damn, he's one
I
shot.
don't hear anybody else.
Nice.
It's just my character, the only thing I hear,
Soldier up top.
and the
Nice.
skateboard. That's it. Everything else is off. I don't hear anything. I don't play the music at all because the music is fucking trash. I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm not gonna gripe about it. I'm not gonna fucking really touch into it because that's subjective. Everyone could like it. Some people might not. But honestly, you could just play your own fucking music in your headphones or through the console itself. So it doesn't make any sense. Like I kind of understand. I'm kind of like realizing like they might not even add like these fucking great songs like they used to
Nice
have,
move. Back.
and we're just gonna have to fucking deal with it. They're obviously gonna try to make more money back, and they are spending to make the game, as you can see by the art style and all that other stuff. They're taking the cheaper route. Obviously, this was supposed to be a mobile game, but they got so much like, and people were honestly excited about it because they thought it was gonna be another Skate 4, like a continuation, but it's not. They were planning on actually making a mobile game, but now
Oh, you
they're
got it.
bringing it into consoles.
Bro, that was
Alright, so
nasty.
the very last thing I want to touch on is the bearings that you collect.
An under
People online are basically saying that this is not Pro Skater, 20 Hawks Pro Skater,
Yeah.
so why the hell are we collecting rings? And
Number
my
13.
feedback to that is it's absolutely stupid. It makes no sense. You're complaining about nothing at this point. It's literally a challenge, and it's guiding you through a line that it wants you to hit, a certain line, right? It's not like you're going out of your way to collect these rings or the bearings. And the fact that people are just bringing up stuff to complain about for absolutely no reason. And mind you, there are things to complain about. There's certain things. But my problem on that in particular is people are literally just complaining but not giving any solutions whatsoever. It's not constructive feedback or criticism because they're not giving any solutions, right? Like, I can sit here all day and be like, oh, this game sucks. Oh, this game doesn't feel correct. Oh, this game, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But they're not giving any solutions. They're not, giving any feedback, real feedback to developers, and specifically pointing stuff out. Like, if I'm saying it's fucking awful, well, solutions, go into your settings, you can change that. There's a bunch of other stuff that they complain about, like the bearings. Again, absolutely makes no fucking sense. All you're doing is a fucking line. It's not like they're forcing you to go out your way to collect those bearings or anything. It's not nothing crazy. But regardless, my main point is, if you have a problem, at least give a fucking solution. You're not just there to complain about the game. Give your proper solutions, and maybe the game will become way better. As you've seen me give solutions in this game, or in this video, I should say. Well, regardless, I'm just gonna let the outro play, and I'll see you on the next one. So that's my ideas, my thoughts, anything about the game. I feel like some of the stuff that people have been talking about online just doesn't make any sense. Like easy, quick fixes. You know, put the fucking audio down. Like, you could turn off V. You don't have to listen to her. You could just be you and your skateboard. And honestly, that's the best way to play it. Have a quick toke, big rip, a bong rip, whatever the fuck you want. Take a line if you want, and then just enjoy the game for what it is. The gameplay is solid, the skating is solid, and you can do a lot more stuff that you couldn't before. So I suggest just following my guide here, and yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you guys have any ideas on how to improve some of the stuff, maybe that I didn't touch on or did, and maybe you think you have a better idea, leave it down in the comments below. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.